Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm your commentator Dale Changer Fan 62. Welcome to tonight's presentation of the Amazon Cup Series. Today we welcome you to the Iowa Speedway here in Newton, Iowa for the M&M's 75. Sitting on the pole is Pantalica with Only on Wheels to his outside, Pit-Boy Flynn behind them, and Big Blue, who just got one of the biggest promotions of his career, rounding out your top two rows. Pantalica leads them to the line. We're ready to go here. As they come into the box, Pan takes the green flag. We are racing. Through the fairly long turns 1 and 2, Pan gets out to a very early lead. Pit-Boy Flynn looks like he's going to go to the bottom and take second away. I believe that is Nick Sant, who will be giving up to his ride to the aforementioned Big Blue at the end of this season. Will try to take third away from Only on Wheels as Pantalica leads the first lap. Got some very dense racing here as Iowa's quite a small track. There's not a whole lot of real space, and DJF gets shot down and spins Jimmy out. As we've already had an incident, we're only on lap 2. It seems like the caution may come out. I think I saw the caution lights on, but I'm not entirely sure if they are. And now they're definitely on, as we have 4 cars going in on the outside wall. Among them are Dumble and Savage. I couldn't quite tell who the other two were. But we'll get more info on that as the caution's most definitely on. Let's see a replay of that. First, from the 62 and the 48 incident. Let's look from Hunter B's camera. Looks like Hunter moves up just a little bit, barely clips DJF. He has to save it, and in the process accidentally takes out the 48 of Jimmy. DJF did get pretty hard into that inside wall, so he's definitely gonna have some damage. Not gonna be at least 2 weeks in a row he hasn't had a very good race. But then a little farther up in the pack, here's the incident that we had going into turn 1. It was Dumble on the high line. Seems like Logan Man just pushed up the track a little bit, hooked Savage and Dumble, and also got the 43 of. Stand by for a moment. Bacon just barely clipped him, and sent them into the outside wall. So already, what is that? 7 cars involved in accidents on the first set of laps. Specifics don't matter anymore. As Pan will lead us back to the green. We go back to the green, and it is out. Pantalica leads us across the line as he goes into turn 1. This has been one of his best races this year. Pit-Boy Flynn going to the bottom of him. He's going to try to shove him up the track a little bit, get the run down the backstretch and into turn 3 to make a pass for the lead. They're going to be the first pass for the lead this race. Pip to the bottom, still side by side. Pan's going to have the advantage coming out of turn 4. They're side by side coming to the line. That's going to allow Nick Sant to close in a little bit as the leaders are too busy fighting themselves. Nick closes in a whole lot. He's going to take the high lane, try to get some draft and a bit of a run out the corner on the high lane. Draft not very important at short tracks, but what you can't get helps. On the outside they go, side by side for the second straight lap, but Hip is able to lead that lap, and he's going to pretty much, no, he's not going to clear Pan. He checks up a little bit on the inside, allows Pan to close up a little bit, but Pan's going to fall right back to second as we have our first clean pass to the lead this race. Not to mention our only first lead change of the race. Jericho, who's been having a career year, has worked his way in the 4th. With Big Blue right behind him. He wants to get around him so he can prove to the man who he's replacing why he's replacing him. Only on Wheels going to the bottom of the aforementioned Big Blue. He's going to try to make his pass going into 3. And he doesn't clear him quite yet. He gets a run on the Big Blue gets a run on the high lane. Only on Wheels goes to the bottom, stays in the bottom rather. And he's clear. Now you can see What If Racing making moves. I think it's Chase Elliott TV up on the high lane, with Keani behind him and Heck behind What If. What If DNQ'd, interestingly enough, for the previous race. Clearly did not DNQ for this race. He's not had a very good season so far in the number 7. And Chase Elliott TV gets into the outside wall. Keani very careful to not accidentally get into him and cause a large accident. So right now, just a little bit of side damage for Chase. He's pretty much going to keep it clean, except for the door of his car, which is not very clean at all. Now it's actually rather dirty and smashed in. But he saves it. Here we can see, I think that's Ringo and Thick. Excuse me for a second. Battling for this little position here. Very, very good racing here at Iowa so far. I know we're only 14 laps into this race, but about to be 15. But when it's this close, got some good racing. Big Blue gets into the wall there. A little bit of an unprofessional move there for a guy who's going into the hottest seat. As Keani, with a bit of a push from, I think that's Dew, is going to get a good run down the backstretch. It's almost like they were tandem drafting as we go back in the field. There's Mr. Penguin trying to make a pass on the outside of Mark Silas. Pass is not made, of course, is there on the outside lane. I think, I was about to make a very incorrect prediction. That's a new shade that was pushing him for a little bit in that WWE sponsored car. We have Priya McShane here, involved in a pretty bad accident in the previous race. Charlotte, if you remember that. She's currently trying to get to the bottom as we move back in the pack. There's Rusty Fighter, who's announced that this season will be his last with Nick Saint Racing. That Mountain Dew number 42 on the outside of Dumbledore, who was actually involved in that second incident. Good to see he's worked his way back up a little bit. He's not in the top 10, but it's a solid enough place for him to be at the moment. Now we can see a little side-by-side between Dew and Keani as they go through 3 and 4. A pair of Dodges, 47 of Dew and 32 of Keani. With another Dodge getting in the mix, that's the 39 of Ringo. And that Alltel number 39, wanted to give him a little push. Excuse me, wanting to do a little push. I need to use proper grammar. I'd say the antecedent before or after the pronoun. A little bit of a grammar lesson. I digress. We come back to the race. There's a little bit of a battle between What If and That's Only on Wheels. So as we go back up through the field, Pip's still holding on to his lead with an average speed of 103 that previous lap, with Pantalica clocking in just a little under a 4/10 of a second behind him that previous lap. Now he's actually closing in just a little over 3/10 of a second, so now he's actually closed up about 400ths. Not a whole lot, but if he can keep chipping away, we might have a little bit of a battle for the lead. Because then we see Big Blue going to the bottom of the ring to make a pass for I don't know what position that is. We'll see when they come by. A lot of drivers been getting kind of high during side-by-side battles as Ringo does not make the pass. He may make it coming off of 4, but it's highly unlikely. He'll probably have to defend against Priya. He does have to defend against Priya. Good move for him right now would be to fall in line and ride behind her. But no, he's going to stay on the high line. I think he got into the outside wall just a little bit. Now Mark Silas is going to pretty easily go around him, considering he's on the bottom of the short track. No, but they are still side by side as they go down the back and into turn 3. And they are no longer side by side, and he has finally fallen in line where he probably wants to be. I probably actually want to be a few. And we've got almost another incident. It's Jericho and Savage Toy Show get together. The lap car of Savage appears to have moved up the track. Of course, that's Savage in the Gold Peak number 60 with the hood ripped off of the car. You definitely tell he's a lap car because of the substantial damage to the car. And now he is absolutely going to ruin Only on Wheels' race unless there's another caution, which there probably will be considering we're only a third of the way through the race. Only on Wheels finally gets to the bottom of him. He's lost a ton of time. Savage is not going to have a very good experience walking home after this race. I don't know why he would walk home in the first place. That's kind of a dumb statement from me. Probably walking back to the garage to load up the car. That allowed Do the Do to close in pretty majorly. Hopefully he just gets out of the way and lets the men and women race it out. I can't say words. Now we can see Big Blue's trying to work his way back up to the front where he was earlier, trying to make a move around Kiani. We now go back to see BKR. I think that's New Shade and Thick battling a little bit for a position there. We have Jose the Potato and No Nothing here. No Nothing involved in a very serious accident about last week. And we might have an incident here. Carnation on the outside of, I think it's Cray Cray and Rusty. Just barely didn't have an incident as they went 3 wide. They're going to go 3 wide again. This probably won't work coming off the corner. We're going to have to see what happens. Let's hope nobody slides up into somebody else. They're clear. They're not 3 wide anymore. You can see Bacon Rocks in there. The back end shorn off of his car. Bunch of damaged cars already in this race. We're not quite halfway through yet. Definitely not what they're wanting to see, but that's life sometimes. I happen to own teams in both leagues, and it's never fun to see cars damaged, both from a driving standpoint and from a racing standpoint, if that makes any sense. And we have an accident as Jericho's gone around. Just as I mentioned earlier, he was having a career season. He spins out and gets into the inside wall, and he moves back up the track way too soon. Damages Bacon. He gets into Richard Herman there as they're racing back to the line. Major stack-ups all around. Not a very respectable or logical or any other positive word that ends in O word. Excuse me, why did I say word twice? I'm just forgetting how to speak English. It appears that What If Racing washed up and just flat out dumped him. The two of them are not going to have happy transmissions on the radio toward each other. What If Racing will probably accuse... excuse me, there's a button on my mic. Probably accuse Jericho of cutting down, and Bacon is definitely not going to be happy, nor is Irishman GFS going to be happy. GFS has been in the wrong place at the wrong time way too many times in his long ACS career. As now we're going to have one of the biggest controversies of the season ready to unfold on this restart. This entire season, lap cars have not known really when to yield to the lead drivers. We're coming back to a restart. Let's hope these slower cars do not interfere. That's Wrangler. I think that's Wrangler. And Savage. Yes, that is Wrangler. As we come back to the green, let's hope the outside lane gets by cleanly. Please ignore the mirage that happens sometimes when we're going through the travel. It looks like there's people standing there, but there aren't. I'll tell you this, it's just one of those Iowa corn mirages, excuse me, for that slip up. It was not a very wise thing of me to say. What If Racing now, after that incident, might have a bit of damage, but he nevertheless gets around Nick Sand. He moves into third. Nick Sand's going to power back on the outside, though. We have a whole bunch of cars gathered right here. It looks like, man, they're 3 wide. Might be 4 wide coming out of this corner. And Thick has slowed up dramatically. I think he may have had, for what I think might be the second race in a row, if I'm not mistaken, a catastrophic failure to his car. He is slowing heavily. He may very well have a mechanical failure. He's going to be parked on the inside of the track. Let's hope the crews can get him cleaned off before he can pose any significant danger. They do. No, and the caution does come out for his engine failure. I have a feeling it may very well have been his drivetrain. As they race back to the line, Pan tries to close in on Hit-Boy Flynn, the only two drivers that have led so far this race. Unsuccessful though, but Pan will be in a very good position to challenge for the win later on the race, as we're just about halfway through. We'll now speed up through this caution period, and we're back, just as we said we would be. Right now we have a very, very long train, about 5 cars long, on the inside lane. For a second I thought the game had glitched and we were doing double file restarts. It's Wrangler, Savage, Hirohito, and a couple other drivers, including, I think that is Zach in the 37 in. Surprisingly, Thick did not have a catastrophic engine failure. He was actually able to keep going. Zach actually makes what's probably going to be a very controversial move as he moves up into traffic on the restart, forcing it 3 wide, which he really should not have done. Let me double check and make sure that's actually Zach. As still a lot of 3 wide racing here, most of them with lapped cars in the way. Usually in this league they have absolutely no idea how to get out of the way. Yes, that is Zach, confirmed up here by scoring, aka the entry list. Not the entry list, the rosters. I digress. We're now seeing 2 rows, 3 wide. That's not going to work very well here at a short track, especially with all these slow lapped cars in the way. I feel like that's a little bit redundant. Slow cars are usually slow. As the Potato now making a move on only on wheels, and the Cabela's number 9, Rango into the bottom of him as well. This track is very groove demanding. You have to run the high lane on the straights, or you don't get a run out of the corners, and you have to run the low line, or you won't be able to get the run out of the corners. If that makes any sense. Long story short, you do better when you run high on the straights, and you do better when you run low in the corners. If you haven't noticed, I have a tendency to ramble on a little bit. Those are the Potato in the 49, now trying to make a move on Do the Do in number 47. He's been mired back quite a bit. Excuse me, I lost my sense of perspective. I thought they had fallen way more than they actually have. They're actually, if I'm not mistaken, just outside the top 10. Correction, they're actually in the top 10. This is a fight for a top 10 position. As we now see, we may actually, never mind, that's not a battle for the lead, that is a battle for second place at the moment. Wrangler is currently a lapped car, but he is running second in line, so Pan actually has a bit of a roadblock to get around, as we now see Jose Potato making a pass on Big Blue. And Do the Do also trying to make a pass on Big Blue, but Big Blue's going to have the run going down the back stretch, so he's probably going to pull off the pass. A lot of side-by-side racing at Iowa. Not really fun for the drivers, but definitely fun for us up here in the booth and in the stands and watching at home. You can definitely tell Hip is running a little slower than Pan. Pan's average laps early on in the race were about 4 miles an hour faster than what Hip is running. It may be because of tire fall off, but we'll have to see. As I say that, the lap speed goes up about a half a second. Excuse me, about a half a mile an hour. MDF trying to get in on this action a little bit. He hasn't had a very good season, and we may have had an incident, judging from those skid marks. That may be from a previous incident, but I thought I saw a little bit of smoke. I believe it was just an incident that had rectified itself earlier on in the race. And I see Kiani and Do the Do having another side-by-side ball. And Do the Do completely blows up and takes out Kiani. While we're watching from their point of view and the field stacks up behind you, Okasassin moves down, cuts into DJF. Dale Reynolds goes into the outside wall. And that freshly painted tire rack car. I was a short track known for a lot of action, but not this kind of action. The driver is acting like complete idiots. If you don't mind me saying that. Of course, you can't blame this incident on Do when the engine lets go like this. You really lose all control of the car. So now watch. Tries to cut down to get to the inside, isn't clear, takes out Kiani. But as Kiani begins to move down, this is the big questionable part. Never mind, it's when Do moves down and begins to block the entirety of the field behind him. So let's go from Dale Reynolds, one of the leaders of the points. Let's go from his point of view in that tire rack number 37 making its debut. Do moves down, everyone scatters. He hooks Okasassin, sends DJF into the inside wall for the second time today. And Reynolds goes into the outside wall fairly hard. DJF able to get back going. Not a whole lot of damage to that 62 car, but absolutely no chance of a good finish. We come back to your restart, we're going to have a very, very long train of... Never mind, it's actually the same length as the one we had before. I would have expected a longer lane on the inside. Up to 35th is still running, but from the 36th on back, it's either a lap down or out. I believe, actually, I think all the drivers, maybe minus one or two, are still in it. Pan does not get a good start at all. Flynn gets an absolutely amazing start. Pan's very slow on this restart for what we've seen in this race. So we're now going to have a whole lot of action shaping up. NBF is actually, speaking of an Eclipse car, has moved his way up into the top 10 yet. You don't see those a lot from the Eclipse team in the ACS. So Nick Sant trying to work his way around Dumble and Jose and Big Blue. Trying to fight his way around his replacement. That probably makes Big Blue feel quite well. That doesn't make any sense grammatically, but I feel like my point was made. What If and Pan are now, if you will, like tandem drafting at a short track with lapped cars. You don't see this a whole lot, and I bet What If and Pan are absolutely livid. The drivers, speaking from experience, do not like it at all when there are lapped cars on the track, and when they're sitting right in front of you, holding you up, keeping you from making moves, it makes you want to rip out the stick shifter from the inside of your car and hit someone over the head with it. Now come to lap 61 of this race, correction 62. We only have a handful of laps to go. I think there are 14 left if my math serves me correctly. Still a whole lot of racing left to go, but I have a feeling this is going to be Pit Boy Flynn's race to lose. Now we see some three-wide action with a lapper and Nick Sant and Dumbledore. It's been for Dumble a very good race as far as moving up through the field has gone. He was involved in a very early incident and has now actually worked his way up to 7th. However, I do think that may be in part due to possibly a caution coming out before the incident he was involved in, so he may have been allowed to retain his position. As Pip crosses on to lap 65, 11 laps to go. There's the Potato now trying to defend against a pass from Pit Boy Flynn. He's going to have to get the power down pretty hard here, or he's going to be side by side through another set of corners. It's really hard to pass here at Iowa. You have to have a really good car to make a pass. Or you have to have a lap car slowing someone up, as we've seen this race. As Dumble's now going to lose a little bit of position. Looks like Chase Elliott TV was going to try to get around him. Nothing happened. So now he can pretty much, if he can clear Chase, set his sights on passing sanctioning body owner, team owner, and driver Nick Sant. Next season will be a quite historic one, considering it will be the first season in recent memory, and perhaps at all, at which the owner of the sanctioning body was not an active participant in one of the leagues. Nick has been driving for a very long time in Hirohito during his tenure as the CEO, and owner was also active. Excuse me for a second, my throat began to hurt a lot there. Felt like I had just gotten jabbed in the throat. I digress. We currently have 7 laps to go. I almost said 6. It's around lap 69 out of 75. Coming to lap 70, so that gives us 6 to go. What if it's closed up just a little bit? But as I say that, he's actually lost position from that lap. I don't mean lost. Excuse me. I mean track position, not scoring position. I think right now we're actually at the point of no return. If the caution came out right now, the race would be over. So we see nothing trying to get around Jimmy, who was involved in an early incident with DJF. Only on wheels, and MDF in a pretty good position to capitalize on this battle. Maybe try to make a move on Jimmy. So we now see Ringo closing in the back of Silas. Trying to take away, I think that's 8th. But we've seen a lot of side-by-side racing and a lot of single-file racing today. Pretty healthy mix of both. As we now see Jose giving the bumper to the lapped car of Thick. I do believe it may have actually been a fuel issue. I think they may have underfueled the car just a little bit and he ran out of gas. Considering there was no smoke coming from the car, that's most likely what it was. Or it may very well have been a flat tire he could not nurse back to pit road. Jose gives him a bit of a firm bumper, trying to get around him as the leader has 2 laps to go. Cannot get past him for some reason. Lap cars are notoriously stubborn in this league. And this is no exception. Because this track is about 7/8 of a mile long, if I'm not correct. We now have 7/8 of a mile left to race. Pip has taken the white flag, now lapping DJF. As with now about 3.5 8/8 to go. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Coming off the turns 3 and 4 complex, Pit-Boy Flynn is going to win at Iowa. Congrats to him. You'll see your finishing order on the left. Okay. And